Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Chisme con Propósito. I am your host, Janet Thayes, and today I have my co host with me.
Charlie, hi everyone.
And we just want to take a time to say thank you to everybody who has been watching episodes 1 and 2. And if you haven't, please stay tuned or go watch the episode after this. Today, we're going to have a very special guest, and I am so excited. I'm going to let him introduce himself and just give a little runaround.
Thank you for having me on. My name is David, from Queens, New York.
AK.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? Born and raised in Elmhurst.
Okay.
Yeah, there you
Queens.
go.
Woo
Queens
woo.
all day. uh, and I'm excited to be here and talk about some cool stuff.
Nice. Okay, so just to start off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background growing up? What was it
Yeah.
like?
My parents are Peruvian, so I don't even know the terminology anymore. I don't know first generation, second generation. I'm some generation. I grew up in Elmhurst, Queens, my whole life. To prove my parents are Peruvian and just kind of just been here, in New York. Recently moved to, well, not recently, but I've moved since Elmhurst to Maspeth, and I've been there, and um, I'm 33 years old. I have a job. I finished school. All these cool things.
Firstly, what do you do for work?
Oh yeah. So I'm a scheduler for the New York Power Authority. So basically, I work with groups and we plan out some of their construction projects that they have going on throughout the state of New York. Um, and I work with different regions, different groups of people. Like I work with like internal folks, engineers, and other stakeholders, and kind of just work with them to plan their work.
Would it be considered like a federal job or a state job?
Yeah,
Or...
it is a state job. So the New York Power Authority is a state entity. So it's pretty cool. Kind of lucked into it a little bit, but I was fortunate enough to meet the right people at the right time, and they remembered me and they gave me a shot, and I was like, all right.
Wow.
How long have you been there now?
So I've been there. I'm gonna make 3 years in a couple of months.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, but I was there, so kind of like I wasn't when I had joined this consulting company. They were like one of my first clients, and I was just fresh, like brand new, and they just needed me to do like PowerPoint stuff, like move the pictures, change the lettering and stuff like that. But while I was doing that, I was like trying to like get to know people around me. Like I would go and talk to people and just trying to get myself something that I had like learned, that just to network, is such a big thing. And when I was doing all that, I made a couple of connections. And then when it was my time to leave, because usually with consultants, they kind of put you on a project and they move you to another project, and you kind of just jump around. Um, I had made this group of connections with people, and I kept up with them on LinkedIn, just kind of like talking to them as if they were like my friend. I don't really know these people, but I would just reach out every couple of months, see what y'all was doing, and then I had left that consultancy company, joined a tech company for a little bit, and it was like, even though it was like it was a change, I didn't really enjoy it. It wasn't really like something that I was kind of looking forward to. And then out of the blue, my director at the time had reached out, and reached out to HR, and somebody reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in applying here?" And I was like, hell yeah. Like this is what I've been wanting to do, because I've been wanting to work here for so long. And I just couldn't believe after 5 years they still remembered me. And so they were like, yeah, come in. And then I interviewed, and the next thing you know, they were just like, all right, you want to come work for us? And I was like, yeah. And then I've been there ever since.
I feel like that's definitely one of the biggest things. The takeaways is just like network. You never know who's gonna help you out in the future, or who,
Yeah.
like you said earlier, like right place, right time. I definitely think what played a big part was also you just putting yourself out there and not being afraid of making yourself be seen or be heard.
Yeah.
So that's a major thing. So I'm really glad that you were able to do that, and especially I think it's impressive, and that they were like reaching out to you 5 years later. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, like they definitely remembered you.
Yeah, it was something that I had like learned when I did this program. So it's like years of like work, like I had to learn this stuff. It was just like something that was just part of the journey
Mm-hmm.
that I had picked up in other places because I had joined this program called Europe, and it was this workforce development program for people that were like from these neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Like, from these like, not the best, because the person, the whole idea behind the program is to bridge that divide between if you were just born in the wrong zip code, you weren't afforded the same opportunities as somebody who was born at the right zip code.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And for a lot of us, we know what those zip codes are. We know what they represent and who they are. So this man, he started off as a mentor and he mentored this kid from, I believe, Red Hook, Brooklyn, like one of the Red Hook projects.
Yeah.
And he was a very talented individual in animation. And he realized that despite him being talented, he was never going to have the same opportunities that others would have. So he created this program to sort of like help kids like him. And so I had joined this program just out of the whim too. Like I didn't even know a program like that could even exist. And so when I did it, that's where I learned like, okay, like this is what I was trying to do. Like this is what I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to bridge, that opportunity divide. And that's where I learned how to like network. They teach you these skills. They're like, oh, this is how you should network. This is the kind of like, you have to get really good at small talk and your elevator pitch. You just never know who you're around. Like, and so I took all that and I had earned myself an internship at this consultancy company. And I realized like, no, like they're gonna know who I am. I can't just sit around and just just assume that I'll be hired or I'm just an intern. Like I'm just and a lot of the interns at this company were like they come from Ivy League schools and they come with like recommendations and this particular place, the consultancy where I was at, they only recruit from these certain areas or these certain colleges. And I was like, well, how do I stand out? Like I don't even have an associate's degree. I'm just some intern. You know what I'm saying? So I devised this like plan to myself, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna I'm just a harmless intern. I ain't here to take anybody's job. None of this. So I said, all right, let me make a list of people I want to meet, and I would write their name and their title.
Yeah.
And their name and their title, and I would like, okay, what can I do for them? Can I just like read their reports or like proofread their numbers or whatever? And that's what I did. I just started going up to people. Hey, my name is David. I'm just an intern. I'm here for a couple of months. Like, what do you do? And it just started this like bowling, like this like effect where I was going up to everybody. Everybody started like noticing me or like wanting to talk to me. And for whatever reason, like I would hope that it played a role. Like even people who were like hired, like high levels of people, like I was trying to schedule lunch with them. Like, yo, I would love to hear about your experience. People love to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
And so I took and like I didn't like I took that and because I thought to myself like I'm not just an intern. I'm David. Like I'm gonna try to stand out this way, and and on top of that, like I had to do the work. Like I could be good at networking, but if I was bad at the work, they wasn't gonna give me.
Yeah.
But because I was good at the work and I was such a likable guy, and people wanted to talk to me and like, okay, this kid wants to learn, let me go teach him something. That played a role in like after like 5 months, they told me like, yo, well, we want to extend you for another 3 months, and then after 2 months, they were like, all right, we want to hire you. And that started this whole chain reaction of like getting my life back on track, like going back to school and like, cause at that point, like I had no thoughts about going back to school.
Okay.
Like, I know like, did I plan this? I didn't go to school for this stuff. Like the way I got to this place, it was super unorthodox. Like, I went to Newtown High School, shout out to Newtown. I went to Newtown. I did, I graduated, and then, I did something that I didn't like. Like I did drafting, because I wanted to be an architect, right? My parents, they kind of drill, these expectations as a first, the second generation. Like, like my dad and my mom did not know of other opportunities. They would just see engineer, doctor, architect, to make all this money, because that's what they thought about. They thought about, I want my kid to make the most money. Who cares if he's happy or not? As a young adult, I didn't really know how to like navigate that with my parents. Like I didn't know how to tell them like, no, Dad, I'm not happy with this. They don't understand. They don't get it. So I ended up going to City Tech to do architectural drafting, like architectural technology, and I hated it. I hated it. I used to just lament going to school. Like I would stay up at like 2, 3, 4 in the morning just drafting, because you had to do it by hand, and I'm there drafting with my T-square, my triangles, and I was like,
Square.
dude, I was like, yo, I want to put my head through this table, dude. And then they introduced models, and I was like, I had to like cut cardboard and like put together with like toothpicks and like get fake grass and all this shit. And I was just like, yo, I was like, I can't do this. I can't. Hell no. I had like an epiphany, dude. I was in Broadway Park in Elmhurst. Shout out to Elmhurst again. And I was sitting, and my professor was like, hey, like a very pompous guy. He was like, like go into a park, and if you could redesign it, like how would you redesign it? And I was like, all right, whatever. Like, this doesn't make sense to me, but sure. So I go and I bring my sketchbook. I had a sketchbook where I'm drawing like I-beams, like I'm looking at like train tracks and trying to draw stuff, because I'm trying to look for inspiration. And I sit there, and I swear like a wind hit me, and I'm thinking like, I hate this. I can't do this. Nah. Immediately dropped out like a month later. Like, and I had already been messing up in school. Like, es que no me dio la gana. Like, and I couldn't tell my parents. Like, I couldn't tell them that I didn't enjoy going to school, because, they there's this like expectation where, my dad worked a construction job. Like a lot of Hispanic fathers that come to this country, they work a very physical, demanding job. My mom was like one of those babysitters that you watch on TV that has like the apartment, and she's like the neighborhood babysitter. Like she got like 10, 15 kids in the house. You know what I'm saying? So for me to go and tell my dad like, hey, I don't like doing this, he's going to be like, yo, I'm busting my butt on my knees, putting on tiles.
Physical work.
I'm come home like matado, and you're telling me you don't enjoy going to school? Like, it just wouldn't compute to him.
How was it like telling them this?
No, it was yo,
Breaking
I
the
was
news.
so scared, terrified, because my dad was such a, I love my dad now, right? He's, with age, he's very soft, and he's soft up. Yeah. But back in the day, my dad was like a tough guy. Like he worked with tiles, so his hands were like brick, very tough, strong hands. So when I dropped out, and I was like, well, I gotta explain to my parents why I'm not going to school. So it's gonna be like, and I can't just be outside because I got no money. So I was like, all right, like I was like talking to my parents, and I was like, listen, like I dropped out of school, and I kind of don't like what I'm doing, so I'm gonna try to find something that I do enjoy. And they were like, why? Like, why don't you want to be an architect? Like, what are you gonna do with your life? Like, you're just gonna be like, just living here. Like, I don't even want to use the word like bum, but that's how my parents would talk to me. Like, yo, you would be like this. You're gonna be like no life. Like, what are you gonna do? And then you're just like, I was like 18, like 18, 19, and I'm just there going like, I don't know. Like, you're like such a young person. You don't, and I have no mentors. I couldn't talk to, to someone who like I looked up to, or sure, I had older like relatives, but they also had a different mindset where it was like you put your you put your happiness on a back seat, and you have like this duty to do. And then it was just like, yeah, but like it doesn't make me happy. Like I'm dealing with like I can't do this. I don't find fulfillment in anything that I'm doing now at like 19 and 20, and then for them it's hard to understand that. But eventually it was like, okay, so you're not going to school, what are you going to do? And so I had to like figure it out, and for a long time I didn't know what to do. Like I had, just dropped out of college, like, trying to like I couldn't get a job. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I felt like the lowest of the low because I had disappointed my parents. I had like no career, educational ambition. Like it was just terrible. And I'm trying to figure out like, yo, I was rejected from everywhere, bro. Like I was like rejected from like models, like so just regular like retail jobs, dude. Like I remember applying to Home Depot to just work the lot. Like the people who just bring the carts back, they rejected me from that. I'm like, I'm just bringing back carts. How can they not? How do I not get this job? And it was from two places. One in Flushing, and then one in I think it was 14th Street. And I was just like, but I just gotta put the cart back. Why don't I get this job? Like
what? Like, why can't I get this job? Like,
yo, there was like, it doesn't even, you don't even need a college degree. Like I should be a shoo-in. I could think,
Yeah.
So I was like so given up, like, and it all started, right? So I had applied the third time. This is a long story, but it will make sense because it all started when I was at my worst. So I had applied to Home Depot the third time. And I was like Home Depot. I was like, Home Depot got it at least, persistence, it's the theme. So I'm like, all right, let me try one more time. Like, and it's in East Elmhurst, so it's not that far. I didn't have a car or nothing like that, so I just walked. So I was like, okay, let me go apply there and let's see what happens. But in my mind, I'm like mad negative. I'm like, they ain't gonna give it to me. Like, what's the point? Like, so the day of the interview, I showed up late. I just wore jeans and a shirt. Like, I even had like the wrong colored socks. Like, I really did not. I showed up late.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I did not care. Yeah. I had just given up. So I go in, and it was to work in the hardware section, right? And this my supervisor, right? The supervisor came in. He was like talking to me, and he's asking me questions, right? And it's like, have you ever gone above and beyond for somebody? And I'm making up stories. I'm like, oh yeah,
like we all do. Like
what? I tutored somebody during Christmas, so he could pass math. Like, just lying to the man. Yeah. And he just like stops me, and he's like, yo, like, if I hire you, would you work hard for me? And I was like, yeah, I would. And he's like, do you swear? And I was like, yeah.
What kind of job?
Yo, swear to God,
I need you to pinky promise you're gonna
for real
work hard for me.
And I was like, yeah. And he's like, all right, wait in the waiting room, just in the break room, just wait there. I'm gonna talk to HR because we had the HR lady there. He goes in, talks to her, comes back out, and he goes like, all right, she's gonna call you in a couple of minutes. Like, you got to do your paperwork and all that. And he was like, and I was just like nervous. I was like, oh, okay. Like, all right, sweet. She called. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I was like, whoa. I was not ready to have a job for real, yo. And he calls me in, and he's like, the HR lady calls me in, and she was like, all right, like, you're on probation right now, so you gotta. Thank God I wasn't doing any drugs because I had to take a drug test.
Really?
So back then, I don't know if they still do it now, but you had to do a drug test to work at Home Depot. Swear to God,
that's crazy.
And so I was like, all right, I'm not doing anything, so I should be able to pass.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, and this is like what you would be making, and it said $10.75, and I was like, yo, $10.75 an hour? I'm rich. I was like, yo, this is, now we living. Yep. $10.75 an hour? Nah. This is great. Yeah. This is like 2013, right? 2012, 2013, around that time.
Oh.
And yeah, this is a long time ago.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
And so I was like 1075. I was so excited. I was like, yo, I got a job.
Yeah.
And then that started like this whole journey because my supervisor taught me work ethic. He said, listen, Dave, it's about, putting in a real shift. It's about like, perception is reality. Like, making sure that you're doing a good job, like just trying your best. And he started with that. And to this day, his name is Akeem, right? Shout out to that man because he gave me an opportunity, right? He gave me an opportunity, and he pushed me. He exceeded. He was like, "Yo, just being on time is half the battle. Being on time and just working hard." And so I needed that. I needed some because I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have, like I said, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have somebody I wanted to be, but I wanted to be him. So I started picking things up, and then like just slowly. Then I went from a part time. They started giving me extra hours at work, and I was like, "Oh snap, this is great." Now instead of working 6 hours, I'm working 8 or 4. I'm working 6. Now I'm working 8, and then they gave me full time. And back in the day, that time, you're like, "Yo, full time? Nah, he's a real good worker."
Yeah.
So I was getting 40 hours every week, and I was like, "This is great." And then like I started to change, and then I started asking more of myself. I started going like, "Oh, what else could I do?" And I was I had known somebody, and this person's mom had recommended this program called Europe, and it was the program, and it was like to help underserved minorities and all these things. And this person was telling me about it, and I dismissed my friend, right? And I said, "Listen, man, you think there's programs out here that help us? Get out of here! Like, listen, there's none of this stuff. It's a scam." But my friend had convinced me, and they were like, "Let's go, let's go." And so I ended up going, and I heard the premise of the program, and the program was like, we want to do this for you, and I came out going like, "This is it. This is what's gonna help me get to that next level." Cause I don't know, like I feel like I've hit a plateau. And so I went back to work at Home Depot, and I started telling people, like, man, I found this program that I want to do, and it's kind of get me into corporate America. Like that's where I want to be. And they were all shutting me down. They were like, man, just like get back to work, and no, you're just gonna be at Home Depot for the rest of your life. And that's like, there's nothing wrong with that. But to me, I was like, man, I don't want to just do this for the rest of my life. And the breaking point came like those Home Depot, those aisles are very long. So then the like my store manager at the time was like just riding me. He was like, "You're not mopping it right. You have to mop this way. You have to mop the aisles." And I'm mopping, and I'm like, man, my mom like swam here, and like my parents did all this stuff, and I'm just here just mopping when I had so much opportunity. And like I just like at that moment, like something like a switch flipped, and I was like, I gotta leave. I gotta do this program because there's nothing else that I can think of that will get me to where I need to go. And so like a week later, I just like half-assed wrote like a resignation letter, and they were like, the guy looked at me and he said, if you hand this in, you can never work at Home Depot again. And I was like, I know, like I'm good. I think I'll be all right. I hope I don't have to come back here. So I hand in the paperwork, and then I do the program, and I interview, and like I get conditionally accepted, and then eventually they give me the full acceptance, and they bring me into this program. And I didn't really have a suit. Like in this program, you had to dress up every day. You had to like wear a suit. You had to wear like business clothes. You had to be there a certain time because you sign a contract, and you start off with like 100 points, and you get like a stipend. And if you showed up late, that's an infraction. They take out 5 points, and that's money they take out of their stipend. Like you lose 5 points, that's $5 off your stipend. I don't want to lose my stipend. Yeah. So it became like a full-time job. Yeah. And like I was going through like a lot of personal issues with my family, and like we were getting evicted, and like there was just all this stuff happening on top of like me trying to progress my career. Pero kind of like that Hispanic mentality where it's like pa'lante, like échale ganas, like all that stuff. Like you just like I can't fail. Like I have to keep going.
Yeah.
And so despite what I was going through, I was able to block it out and be a top performer at the program. And then I earned uh, my internship into this like English company. It was called Turner and Townsend. I was there for like 5 months, and I really was like, yo, I wasn't gonna let anything stop me.
Yeah.
And so,
Determination.
like, I was so determined because I was like, man, I just like I don't. There was like no fallback. Like for me, there was like, what can I do to move forward? Like no one was gonna come and save me. Like I couldn't rely on nobody. Nobody was telling me how to do. I had to like figure it out. And so I worked my butt off, and then it's all these little habits start forming, right? And they all like all these little they all start all these things start adding up, and I ended up getting hired, and then I meet this my first mentor. His name is Rob Rains, my first mentor. And he sat me down and he said, yo, like, are you in school? And I was like, no, I'm not in school. Like, and he's like, all right, do you have a plan to go back to school? I was like, no, like, I just got a job. This is my first big boy job. Like, I'm not getting 1075, so I'm good like this. And he was like, nah, you come, like, I know the program you come from. The program is about setting you on the right path. It's not just about having a job, it's about having a career. And I was like, so what you saying? Like, what do I gotta do? He's like, well, one, you're going back to school. And I was like, whoa, going back to school? What do you mean? He's like, no, you're gonna go back to school. You're gonna figure it out. Go do your research. And I was like, man, my dad don't even talk to me like this. Like, no one has ever told me these things. And I was like, but does that mean I have to go back to like part time? I can't do part time, Rob. Like, I need my paycheck. He's like, no. You're gonna go to school full time and you're gonna work full time. And I was like, but that's gonna be hard. And he's like, yeah, but I'm gonna work with you because it's about getting your life back on track. And I was like, you do that for me? And he's like, yeah, it's gonna take a lot of hard work, but that's the whole point. You have to put in the work. Put your head down and just work. And so I was like, oh man, I gotta go back to school, yo. So
as someone who only knows school, I'm here like that's a dream for me.
no, it was the damn, I gotta go back to school. So, I was at City Tech. I messed up my financial aid. I was dropping classes. I almost got kicked out. Like, so I had to start from zero. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna start at a community college. So I went back to BMCC. You know what I'm saying, right? Because what's the motto? It's like start here, go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, I relate to that. So I remember like, but this time I was like, no, but like I already had a couple of years under my belt. I was like, at this point, I was like 25, 26. You know what I'm saying? I was like 25, 26, and I was like, all right, I'm a little bit older. I kind of, this is the second time. I ain't gonna mess it up. So I go back to school and I start working. And, it's hard. Like, because, the work doesn't get easier just because you go back to school. Like, and something I've learned is that, like, people don't care. You know what I'm saying? People care to a certain extent, but it's like, oh, you got school? That's cool. Like, I need you to get this done. Yeah. Like, so there's no like, all right, like that's not my problem. You have to do the work and you have to do it at a high level. So a lot of the time I would work from like 8 to 5 or 8 to 4, 9 to 5, and then take the train, go to Lower Manhattan and go to school from like 6 to 8, 6 to 9, like Monday through Thursday. And like Fridays I'd be exhausted. Saturdays I sometimes I take Saturday classes just to catch up. Yeah. And I had done it for 2 years. I had I finally got my associates, and I was like, oh man, this is great. And then same guy, my mentor, and he's pushing me at work too. I'm like, man, but you know I got school. And he's like, I don't care. I need this done. Like, you're in charge of this. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. And I was like, damn, this is hard. I don't want to do this. But I, like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, no, this is like part of you put your head down and you do the work. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, all right, like, you know, what colleges can I go to? And he's like, well, where do you want to go to? Now, when I first went to college, I was like a 78 student. So no places wanted me, you know what I'm saying? City Tech, I think, just like took me just because maybe they felt bad for me. I don't know. So this time I was like, you know, my GPA was a lot better, and I was like, where can I go? And my manager goes like, oh, why don't you check out Baruch? And I was like, Baruch, like I can't get into Baruch, man. That's like where smart people at. Like I'm just David. And he was like, no, like check it out. And I was looking at the requirements. I'm like, yo, I don't know if I could get in. I don't know if I could get in. So I had applied to City College, Baruch, Queens College, and Hunter. I got into City College. I got into Baruch. I got into Queens College, but Hunter didn't accept me. So I was like, all right, 3 out of 4 ain't that bad. So,
Very good.
Damn right.
Very
and then literally, I didn't even tell my parents I got into Baruch. I went to my mentor and I was just like, yo, I got into Baruch. And he was like, that's great, proud of you. You got a deliverable due at like 5 o'clock, so I need you to get back. And I was like, all right, you know, whatever. And then when I finally got home, I was able to tell my parents, and I was like, yo, looks like I just got in, like, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, okay. And then back to work. Because now, you know, I'm going for my bachelor's and like I'm doing, and this time I had already picked what I wanted to do, which was business. Business administration. I had gotten to Baruch for operations management. I somehow connected it with being a consultant and understanding how organizations work. Because, you know, organization is about people. And I realized that I enjoy being around people and talking to people and trying to solve problems that way. It was nothing to do with architecture. Like, it was just not my thing. So I had realized, like, I found what I like to do. And so, you know, I had done my first year and then COVID happened and, you know, like that shut everything down. So I was working remotely and going to school and like remote learning and all this stuff. Like shout out to Chegg, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm just being real.
Chegg,
Shout out to Chegg, bro.
Chegg came in clutch.
Chegg honestly helped me a lot. I went to Hunter, so
Yeah.
it helped me so much in like understanding concepts where it helps bridge the gap, the knowledge gap that you need. But I do have a question. Are there any more programs like this, like the programs that you got involved in? And
Yeah, it's, you know, there's the co-op that Charlie was mentioning, was talking about before. There's Year Up. You know, what I would recommend is just like Googling workforce development programs in New York City. Because honestly, like, you know, I didn't even know programs like this existed. You know what I'm saying? It was a word of mouth. So I'm telling you, check out Europe. I swear, even like at work, right? When I talk to interns and like high schoolers or whatever, I tell them, check out Europe. You know, you may do it, you may not do it, but it's such a great avenue because it's just a giant resource. It's only a year of your time. You know, they give you, it's 5 months of like training, right? Like they teach you how to like write emails, like very simple things that you would not think matter, they'll teach you. And then you earn like a 6-month internship at a Fortune 500 company. Like it's not just a consultant. You could potentially get internships at like the 4 big banks in America. Like, you know, say JP Morgan, you know, sometimes it's a cool tech job. Like these are awesome institutes that you could put on your resume that, hey, I did an internship here for 6 months. And depending on where you go, you might get extended. And then I have so many friends that have extended their internships and they work there. They've moved up in the world. Like it's such a, but remember, Europe and these programs, it's whatever you put into it.
Yeah.
wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it a buck. If you do not go in with that sort of growth mindset and you go in and you're like, yo, I'm the way echar ganas, like if you don't go in like thinking like that, then you're not gonna find the success, and then you're gonna blame the program. And it's not really about the program. The program just gives you the tools.
Yeah.
They give you the key. You
use
gotta
them,
walk
yeah.
through it.
You gotta use them.
David, you said that you went back to school, you had tried it first, then it wasn't for you because of architect, and then you got into this program, and through your mentors, they pushed you. Was it compared to the first time that you went as to the second time you went? Was it easier because you wanted to learn
Yeah,
business management instead of something that you were dreading before?
100%. Like night and day. Like I remember, like when my first go around, just dreaded going to school. Like I did not want to know how concrete was made. Like this is like it. I would like it's like watching paint dry. And for some people, that's like incredible. Like they want to know that stuff. Me, my attention span, I got like ADHD or something. Like
I think
it's
we
like
all got
I
a little bit of
can't
that.
do this, dude. And the people that I was like, I just wasn't like focused enough. I wasn't mature enough. I didn't understand what was really at stake until my second go around. Like a little older, I'm here for these reasons, you know. Like I'm tired, so I really don't have time to really joke around. It's just I was in a different headspace.
Got a little more life experience.
A little
back
bit.
then
I've been
already.
knocked down a couple of times. I got up. Like I need to, like to the point where I would go to school and then people like I would see young people go into my class and being loud, and I'd be like, man, why are they so loud, man? Try just sit down and get an education, man. Come on, this is important.
Like, come on, I'm here to actually learn.
Yo, for real, dude. Like it was just night and day, and in a way, I'm glad that I messed up that first time because it made me more appreciative of the second time.
No, yeah, I think definitely it's also just like you learn a lot throughout the journey. Like
Yeah.
definitely you learn from your mistakes and you get to appreciate like, okay, like I'm glad that I got to understand what's at stake, what I'm really working for, and see also sacrifice like you mentioned earlier, like sacrifice your parents made, and that's what like made you like want to push for more than just working at Home Depot, which there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just like, like you wanted something more for yourself and you fought to be there, like you had mentioned early on that, you're lucky. And there was like a right place, right time. I don't really think it's much about luck. It's much more about how much work you actually put into it and how much determination you have to really want this. Like you said, the program is there just to give you as a tool, but it's really what you put into it is what you're going to get back from it.
Yeah.
It's also great because even growing up, whether you said first generation, second generation, it's always the expectation of you're going to go to school. As soon as you get out of high school, you're going to go to college. But honestly, some people just don't know what they want to do in the beginning of their life, and I think that's completely okay personally to me. Like we go in through life, we get knocked down like you did, and I know I've been honestly tumbled, actually kicked sometimes, but you are like, how bad do you want it? And I just love the simple fact that you heard about this program, you dismissed it, but then you were talking about it with coworkers. Like if it was like, hey, I kind of want to do it, but the security of actually having a paycheck, and people don't think about it. How far am I going to be here for the rest of my life? Or am I going to take this opportunity and I'm going to run with it and I'm going to put all my eggs in this basket and just hope for the best? And I think you've definitely demonstrated that in your story, and it's okay. And I think for a lot of listeners that are going to hear this, it's like saying, or future individuals who are in high school, hey, like if you don't know what you want, it's okay. You have to figure it out along the way, trial and error. You went through pains and wanting to hit yourself, bash your head on the table from doing these architectural things, and it's like, it's not for me, and it's okay, because sometimes, hey, like we want to live our parents' dreams.
Yeah.
We want to make them happy, but sometimes you need to choose what's gonna make you happy.
Yeah. And it's it's tough to go against the grain. It's not easy. I mean, like you take a young person, your parents are your everything, and to go against your parents, as an old, like I'm 33. To me, it's like, oh yeah, you just talk to your parents, they'll be fine. But putting myself in like the mind of like a 17, 18-year-old, they're just not mentally equipped to just do that with their parents. But you kind of like, even though it's scary, you kind of you should, right? Like try um and just figure out ways where you can have this type of conversation and really take the time to figure out what you like to do.
So, what is it that you like to do in your free time, if you don't mind me
Oh,
asking?
yeah. I mean, I really enjoy music. You know what I'm saying? My free time is usually I'm either like practicing like my DJing at home or like listening to vinyls or reading books. But lately it's been
Do you have a DJ name?
it's it's called DJ Buddha, but like that's just my nickname outside. Or Brick Cuerpo, that's just besides the name. But yeah, like DJing has been my creative outlet. So I've done some like house parties. I did a wedding once.
Wow.
But it was just so much fun.
So dope.
Just putting music together and just like, I'm such a people person. I like seeing people be just jump up, dance, drink, like having such a good time that I'm just like, oh, this is dope. Like I like making people feel good.
Yeah.
And you pick the right song and then you just like, to see somebody's face light up going like, oh, that's my song. It's just like priceless.
You said, so just to mention, you mentioned vinyls, right?
Yeah.
Is there something you want to show us?
Yeah,
I keep
so-
it with a bag, and I was like, "What's inside the bag, guys?"
Yeah,
I literally was like,
so it all kind of started. I was with my fiance, and we were about to go to an Airbnb, and I was looking at the pictures, and they had a record player, and I was like, "Yo, babe, you got a record?" And she was like, "Yeah, I got a Hector Lavoe record," and I was like, "Of course, she Puerto Rican, you gotta have a Hector Lavoe." Obligado, like she has a Hector Lavoe record. So I was like, yo, bring it. So we go to the Airbnb, and I don't even know how to work a vinyl. I had to YouTube it. So I had to freaking use new technology to use old technology. So I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm holding this thing, and I put it down. I'm like putting the needle, and then all of a sudden, like you hear the crackle of the vinyl, and then the music starts going. And I was like, something happened in my mind. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. Is this how they used to listen to music? This is awesome.
That's dope, yeah.
It's great. And then you're hearing all this music and the sounds, you hear all these instruments. And I was like, whoa. So I grabbed my fiance and I just started dancing with her. And I was just like, oh, this is incredible. And then it just started this journey of like, yo, like, what is like salsa music besides like, and there's this whole history behind salsa music. It was just more than just like a genre of music. It's like, it was how it, and it also helped me connect with like just like New York, Latin New York in the 70s. Cause, salsa music was not just like, it was, a little bit of hyperbole, right? But it was like a revolution for them, like because there was a time where these clubs and these bars, they wouldn't let Hispanics play. Like this is like music that comes from like El Barrio of Manhattan, like in all these areas, and like these were just young people just putting music together, and to talk about the struggle and all the history behind it, like, and once I started diving into it, I was like, oh, this isn't just for me to dance. This is for me to understand how people live and like how it was back in the day. Like, so, when I asked Charlie, hey, can I be on the podcast? I was like, I want to share some of this music because I have such a big collection, and I'm myself am trying to figure out how can I get this music out here, because this is it's such a big part of our like just Latin history in New York in general. You know what I'm saying? Like Fania and all these things, like all the cool vinyl stores, like the people that I was able to meet has just been incredible. And to understand like how music was made, like you have a different appreciation for like music when, in my opinion, when you have vinyl, because then you hear all the instruments. Like,
that was my next question.
yeah,
I've
like,
never heard things from a vinyl
yo,
versus regular playing. So, is it different? Yeah.
different. Yo, I was like, right, you just hear music. And I was like, wow, the music sounds good. But then when you start listening to vinyl and you have your setup, you start listening to like, oh, you hear the clave going. You hear the trumpet on here. You hear the trombone, el bongo, la conga, the pianos. You start hearing all this and you start to like isolate it and you go like, oh, that's the trumpet being played right now. Like it's doing this. While the person is singing, while el coro está yendo, like you hear all this stuff, and it just adds a brand new experience. At least for me, it brought in a new experience to like listening to vinyl and listening to Latin music. So I wanted to bring some cool vinyls. Yeah, so the first one I wanted to bring was like this Frankie Ruiz. You know, this is the one that has Tu Con Él.
Yes.
Let's see what else I got here. La Cura, like the stuff that like Raul Alejandro did, like you know something like, and that's the crazy part. Like this stuff feeds into like what Bad Bunny did,
Yes.
what Raul Alejandro was doing. Like all this comes from like the previous generation of music. So pass that around. There's more like Ismael Rivera. Like these are just old classic, like salsa, like La Caritas Lindas, like where he talks about like the beautiful faces of black people, like because they play such a big role in like the Latin music, right? Because all that stuff comes from like Cuba, from Africa,
Yes.
all this stuff. So like I brought a lot. Like this is a big tree.
Do you dance salsa?
Hell yeah! Shout out to Salsa in Queens, like in Steinways.
Okay, literally a whole Queens, New Yorker here.
Yeah,
Born
no,
and
everything.
raised.
Born and raised, everything. I try to get everything in Queens. Like you're like sometimes I'll go into Brooklyn, but mostly everything I try to source from Queens, and then obviously the Bad Bunny
Okay,
vinyl.
It's the one I'm missing.
Yeah, so like this is infused with so many like music from Puerto Rico. Like he mentions in his interviews, like he sourced like inspiration from old salsa music, like from the LeBron brothers, Roberto Roena, and to Apollo Sound. Like these are things that like this stuff was made in the '60s, still is impacting
to all
us
my
today.
Bad Bunny lovers. It's beautiful.
I know. I have like. Should I just keep going? Like I have a.
I have a question.
Yeah,
you can put
yeah.
them
I'm
up
sorry.
As I'll continue asking questions. Being part, have you tried to embed your love of music into your work? Or
Oh yeah.
Any of that?
Hell yeah! Like you know, I sometimes come up with like playlists on Spotify. Like if you go to my cubicle at work, I actually have vinyls there. Like I have like doubles of. So I have these two albums. I have Ray Barretto's Latino just there, and then Larry Harlow's Salsa just there, just random vinyls. And every time somebody comes by, they always, well, what is that? And I'm like, oh, this is like my Latin vinyls, like this is salsa, like you know what I'm saying? Like I try to make sure that's all part of it. Like every time I'm working, I'm playing music. Like it's part of my identity now, and I try to bring that every time I'm at work.
That's so great because
Word.
sometimes like being in these workforces, especially with Latinos being minorities,
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, how am I gonna bring out my culture and like
I'm gonna share that
how am I gonna
experience,
share that experience? And usually at work, I go for food, like be like the mole and all of this other stuff, and be like,
Word.
oh hey, would you like? Oh, I'm bringing gorditas. Oh, would you guys like some? Oh, don't worry. Like I enjoy. I think music, food. There's so many ways of letting people share your culture and bring them into it and being like, hey, this is very common. Like a few days ago, I was like eating beans and chicharrón, and I had
Oh,
my
that's so
tortillas
good, yo.
at work, and I was like, oh yeah, this is what we eat. Would you like to try? Like, do you have a favorite vinyl?
Oh, actually I do, and I brought it.
Oh yay!
Yeah. This is like an old, like they don't just make these anymore. It's made from this gentleman. His name is Marcolino Di Monde, and he created this album called Brujeria. And the singer is Angel Canales, but this is like una obra de arte, like una joya, like for real, like this. And all this is on Spotify, right? You can get it on Spotify or Apple Music. Brujeria, like this stuff is like incredible. He was a pianist, um, my like favorite pianist, and then the singer Angel Canales, like, and then the whole like team that he had around him putting this together. This is like one of my favorite. This is like top five of my favorite salsa vinyls. Um, and it's just so cool, and it's kind of mysterious too,
Yeah.
because it's all black, and he's just like the word brujeria, right, witchcraft, but it's really such a very cool, mellow. It talks about el barrio, it talks about like just life, like it's just so dope.
Oh, it's two-sided also?
Yeah,
Vinyls? Oh,
Yeah, vinyls can be
wow.
two-sided.
yeah.
You learn something new each day. So, with your whole upbringing and we've shared about your journey, is there something that you would have liked to know before stepping into whatever
Oh man,
your
that's it.
career? Not
Um,
even your career, your life. Like,
I wish I would have taken finding a mentor, finding somebody. I wish I had done that earlier. Um, Somebody that would have liked, I guess maybe somebody outside my family that maybe I would have aspired to want to be when I was younger. Because I feel like I got it a little too late, but I feel like I wish somebody had told me like, hey, you know, your parents could be your mentors, but there's also different kinds of mentors. Um, and I wish I would have taken more time to figure out what I really wanted to do and do the research and not just like hey, my parents want me to do this one thing, let me just do it and forego whatever else I'm feeling. Um, and so that's probably what I would have maybe wish I had a little bit or thought of. I guess generally in life, and then like for work, it's just like I wish I would have discovered scheduling a lot earlier. Scheduling has been like really fun, just something that I kind of like walked into just because I volunteered. They just need somebody, and yeah, I even asked the guy. I was like, what's scheduling? You know, and it's like, oh, you're a planner. You plan projects. And I was like, how much do they make? And he was like, oh, they make a lot of money. And I was like, I'm sold. Where can I learn this
That'll
stuff?
do.
I
Yeah.
just want to touch back, and it's something that you just said. You discovered it too late. I don't think it's ever too late to do
Yeah.
something. I feel like it was meant for you at that particular time, and there was a reason why you were mopping that floor incorrectly at Home Depot, and you were here thinking and being like talking to your coworkers about this project because something inside of you said, "Hey, I think it's time to go."
Yeah.
And I'm just a believer que Dios te manda las cosas al tiempo de él, no a tu
Yeah.
tiempo. Whenever he tells, when he sets the right time, and I think it's so beautiful that you definitely put everything into it and ran with it, and here you are, and you said it from the beginning. You're the one who decides what you want to
Yeah.
do. So do you have a échale ganas kind
Yeah.
of quote for
Yeah.
everybody?
Oh man, like you really like you really are the captain of your own ship. Like you really it's really on you. Like it's all you. Like it's whatever you want life to be. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I could be a mentor. I could be your example. Just somebody who just works hard. You know, easy to work with, brings a positive attitude, and like you go as far as you want to take it. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, this is your story. This is your book. You know, so you're the author, and um, like pa'lante, like échale ganas. That's it.
Échale ganas. do you mind if we are able, people who are interested can reach out to us, reach out to you to get more
Yeah.
information on these type of programs? Because you said there's stipulations, and it would be great because, like you said, hey, in the beginning, not everybody's meant for school, and sometimes you meet the right person, the right push that you need to do,
Yeah.
and honestly, working hard for a better life for yourself. And
Yeah.
do you enjoy life now?
Oh, incredibly so. Yeah, life's a lot nicer than it was when I was like in my 20s. But you know what I'm saying? But again, it's just the process, the journey. Going back to like what Rob used to tell me, he's like, like it's hard now, but like think of yourself 5 years from now, like you'll be in a much better place, and you'll get something that they can never take from you.
Mm.
And I'm just like, I was like, what are you talking? Who's they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I'm finally here, I'm like, he was right. I understand what he's saying. And now it's like I get to enjoy all these other things in life now. And just I'm appreciative of that.
It's really beautiful. No, thank you for definitely sharing and giving us a little insight of like what you do, what led you to get there, all the bumps you had to hit along the road, and also about the program. I think it's definitely important to be able to share these programs because, like, like we're not made aware of this when we're in high school.
Yeah.
We're not made aware. Like even for me right now, like I didn't know there was one that you didn't need a degree for. I know about co-op and the other programs, but most of them are like you already have to have a bachelor's or at least an associate to get into. So I think it's really great for, especially for students coming out of high school that don't know what path they're going to take or don't want to do a traditional college.
Yeah.
That way they can at least go into it and learn about new programs, learn about different things. And I think that's around what we're trying to do here. We're trying to just open up people's minds to like different programs that they have, different types of career, different types of jobs, and not just traditional, like most of our parents just know like doctors, teachers,
Yeah.
architects, lawyers, like those are the typical ones, that most people go for. So yeah, I think it's really great to learn about everyone's different backgrounds, and so thank you so much for sharing and also sharing this beautiful collection of vinyls here
Word.
with us.
Thank you.
Also, just for everyone here, we're also gonna link his Spotify playlist. He has a really, really dope Spotify playlist that I've had saved that I've actually used for like Friendsgiving. But yeah, we're gonna leave that linked also for you guys to see.
And honestly, guys, we will be putting out David's information. Please stay tuned. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Reach out to him if he allows us to give his contact information. And we'll see you back in 2 weeks. Thank you, guys.